Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Kylie and for today's video we're going to be doing my August wrap up, all the books I read in August. I thought I'd try a new location, so yeah, um let's see how this goes. But yeah, I read quite a few books. I read 11 books in August, which was contained 3 ebooks and 8 physical books, which was great because it got my physical TBR down a lot more. Now, also, I managed to read a couple of books that I've been meaning to read because one of the projects or two of the projects I want to be doing is read more books that are like off on my these books will not self-destruct, and also books from book boxes that I need to catch up with, and also any other books that are like pre 2020 that I'm trying to get down as well. That's the kind of projects I'm kind of focusing on. Um, so yeah, without further ado, let's get into what I read. Before I start, I will also mention that it is really warm at the moment, and I've seen a lot of other people doing it, but that is a good message. Please stay hydrated. It's going to be really, really warm in the UK, especially in Scotland, but all over the UK, which is very unlikely for September. We are definitely getting extended Indian summer here. As a Scot, I'm not getting used to this. So, yes, please stay hydrated, everybody. It's good for you. It keeps you healthy. So cheers. I'll go through the ebooks first for this. So, like I said, I've read 3 ebooks, and the first one is a series I'm continuing, and that is Queen of Shadows by Sarah J. Maas. I think this is the 4th book in the Front Glass series. Fifth overall if you include the prequel. I really like this. I'm enjoying this series. This basically follows Selenia. She is an assassin. Uh, Basically, what she was a slave in these mines. She basically one day is picked up by the prince and the king, and entered into a competition to be the king's champion with quite a few other entries, and it basically goes from there. There's a lot of trials in the first book. The series has moved on quite from there. This is basically a YA going into new adult. I think it's like kind of fantasy with a lot of fae. This is really good. I really enjoy this. I'm looking forward to continue the series. This is the first time for me. They pretty much have been 4 stars overall. This was certainly continued on that. So, but yeah, I'm really looking forward to reading the next book about was for Polathon, as this was one of the books was actually suggested as one of the recommendations by Jade from JG Reads, who's readathon it was. She's done this a few times. This is basically to do with polar fantasy or polar reads. This was the third time she's done this, as I'm aware. She did a main one. Her main one was in February, which was a week long. There was a mini one on December last year, which was the retreat. That was a weekend one, and this iteration was a 36-hour one. I basically picked this book because it was the recommended book that picked all 3 prompts. And also I was down south with friends. So I didn't have as much time to read. So I always had planned to just trying to read 1 book, and this what it was. I really like this. This is a contemporary middle grade. I have not read many contemporary reads, but this was had a really, really good message. This is basically about global warming. So basically, this follows 2 people, which was B and Utah. Utah is basically indigenous to the Alaska and the Antarctic, basically, and basically their livestock is basically going scarce. They hunt for caribou, they hunt fish, and basically they're dwindling, and Yuta basically lives by his with his grandma, and he wants to help out. He wants to help out there. So one day, basically, he sneaks out, borrows his friend's snowmobile and goes on a hunt, basically, because he thinks, no, I'm going to be a man. I'm going to do this. I'm going to prove to everybody. I'm going to help. Unfortunately, it doesn't go so well as he falls into the ice. He does get out, and he manages to find a hut. And there's basically all these huts there, like to help travelers when they're going out to fish to hunt. But he managed to get out and gets there, but he's basically dying. So, and that basically where he meets B. B basically had her dad is a geologist. He goes all over the world, and one of the expeditions he takes B along. Um, but unfortunately, when they get into this town, he's meant to be meeting up with the villagers or the people. Something goes wrong. Like he basically looks like he's been attacked. He signals to get away, to take off. She's worried about her dad, but she does manage to get away. But unfortunately, she does slightly crash the plane. She's okay. She's kind of slightly has a bumpier landing. But she comes across this cabin that Yuta is with, and she saves his life. And they go back to their they get back to Yuta's grandma, and basically B is basically on the hunt. Her mission now to save her dad, and she needs to get back home, or get away from the people who are after her. So it's basically their adventure from there, and the whole story is basically that there is um uh, these people after her because her dad is basically he knows where to drill oil. So it's getting that environmental message that yeah we should look after our planet. I thought this is a fantastic message, but for kids. I wish there was more of this when I was younger. I'm not entirely, or just read a little bit. Um, well, not a lot young, but I would love to see more of this world. But it was a lovely little short story. It was only about, I think it was a maximum about 200 pages. If that. I read it really quickly. It was such a fast and compelling read. Um, but yeah, I really enjoyed it. Um, I would like more, like I said, and I am not the intended audience, so I gave it a 3 star. But I really, really, really did like it, and I think definitely there should be definitely more of this taught to kids. And I'm so glad that these kind of books are tackling these kind of issues. So yes, because we got to look after our planet. So yes. The next book I read was for another book club. This was for We Gone Forever by Sarah Govett. This is a dystopian novel, and I read this part of the Burn Books Club, which is dystopian book club hosted by Maddie from Book Browsing Blog, and it's books from Spooky Hall. I love my dystopians, and I really love the recommendations that they come up with. I really like this. This is basically it tackles basically basically passing on your memories and never dying, basically. This is basically set in a world where there is a virus. Hmm. But basically this also tackles another thing, basically. It's kind of like if you have the resources and you have the money, then you can basically select a host and transfer. And basically this follows um Arthur, whose dad is basically head of this company for hosts. Like he wants his son to follow in his footsteps. Um, Unfortunately, uh, Arthur basically has cancer as well. Um, and he needs to find a body soon. So we don't know if it's actually Arthur's original body that has cancer, or he's basically jumping to to body to body. but this also brings up the dystopian part of this, as like the hosts. Now they've transferred into hosts, but the hosts are essentially grown. They're like they've been told this alternative story to keep them in line. Like they don't know any different. They lived in these colonies. Basically, they've been told that the world is basically just about it's apocalyptic as well, but it's radiation. And they've told that in order to like they have to train um, in order to be selected for this kind of like apprenticeship. And this person, if they're chosen the apprenticeship, they'll go on to try and help the solve the radiation. This follows Alba, and basically one day she notices that this is not the case. They're like they've been told that the birds are affected, the animals are affected, the food's affected, and she notices things like the birds are not sick anymore. So she thinks, oh yes, this I'll like I have to tell people. Um, but it's all a lie, and it's basically uh, Arthur selects her, but he gets to like, is this right? Is this wrong? Should we be transferring this to people? And it basically goes on from there. It was such a little heartbreaking story. It really was. I'd love to see more of this, but I'd love to see more of this world. It's such interesting context. Again, this was very short and very gripping. I didn't take long to read this. I think again it was about 200 pages, if that. I flew through this. I'd love to see more of this. That's one of my other complaints. I definitely want to check out Sarah Garvett's more work, because I do have heard she has a series that is to do with is dystopian, so I'm really interested in that. But I give this 4 stars. Again, I'd like to see more, and if there was another sequel to this, I'd definitely be involved. Definitely be on board with it. That was all my ebooks onto my physical reads. And the first of which was The Real Whale Children by E. Nesmith. This is a children's classic. I'd seen the film and many years ago. I've not probably seen it right through, but it's on basically every Christmas and Easter. Basically, this follows Roberta, Peter, and Phyllis, and basically after a government official uh, um, uh, visits their father. They have to move from their London home to a cottage in the country. Their mum, like in order to make ends meet, she begins writing stories. But the children basically have to adjust to their new life. They don't know when their dad is coming back. But there's all these, they're basically set in the country where there's all these the new adventures where there's the trains, and basically they start watching the trains and the world going by, and it's very cute, and they help out a few people along the way, and it's basically it's a coming of age story basically between the children. I really thought this was charming. I really liked this. I didn't love it. It's definitely of its time. It's not completely my thing, but I did find it very, very charming. And very, very wholesome. So if you do like that kind of thing, I highly recommend this. It's actually one of the, like, I know there's a lot of children's stories that is quite problematic. This actually was okay. This was not too bad. But I didn't absolutely love it, so I might be handing this on to somebody. Um, but yeah, yeah, 3 stars. There's not much else I can. The book I read was another dystopian, or rather post-apocalyptic, more like. This is basically a boy, his dog, at the end of the world. This basically follows a boy called Grits. This basically is set in a world where this thing called the gelding has happened. Basically, where this decreased population, people people can't have kids anymore, basically, and the dogs can't have kids anymore really anymore. They've certainly been affected, or I think it's affected like 90% of the population. So there are people around, there's just really not many, and basically society has crumbled. There's hardly anybody anymore. And Gretz basically lives with his family up in the Scottish Highlands, and he lives with his two dogs. One day there a traveller comes. He's a trader. He comes to visit them and he wants to trade things for think was for a reactor to help with their their house. But in the middle of the night, he steals quite a few things and he makes off with Gritz's dog. So it's basically his journey to get his dog back. This was pretty much heartbreaking. It's a really, really sad story. There are some, it's not gruesome, but there are parts of it where are like, I certainly give you trigger warnings where it was, it's not like, where I've had other post-apocalyptic where people are like grossly dying and things. So there are elements, but it's not, it's more sad. It's really tragic than anything else. There was a few times I go, oh no! And also, like anything to do with animal companions, it's gonna be, please don't let the dog die. There were, I found this brilliant. It was really, really good. The ending, the only thing about the ending for me for this was, I expected it to go another way. I wasn't quite sure on the ending. Like it was not anticlimactic exactly with us, but it was for me. I thought there would be a little bit more uh, to it, because to it than how it ended. But it was still really, really good. I really did enjoy it. So again, I would certainly give this a 4 star. If you are in dystopian and post-apocalyptic books and you like any dogs, any ones with animal companions, this is definitely a different take on that. I really do recommend it. It might break your heart a little bit though, that's the only thing. So yeah, certainly do look into that. The next book I read was a contemporary, and this was 24-Hour Cafe by Libby Page. I saw this in basically in a deal with the works. I think it was 2 for or 3 for £5 or something like that. This is a contemporary, basically following two girls. They had basically they are housemates, but they also, in order to get by, and one of them is a singer, one of them I think is a dancer, but they work there like two halves of a 24-hour shift in a cafe, and it's basically their story as they uh, as they basically go day to day, and it's like goes back in time a little bit how they met, and it also follows some of the stories of the people coming into the cafe. So so this is follows Hannah and Monica, the best friends. And yeah, it's their life really. It was really, really nice. So there's a lot of little nice touches in there. It's not quite it is quite light, but there also is a little bit more deeper meaning to this. And I do tend to like contemporaries with a little bit more of not day to day, but a little bit more like people's real lives rather than I don't tend to go for like as like fluffy ones, but I do enjoy them. But I do like something that's a little bit more people's life. This was a bit. I would say this was a 3.5 or 4. I did really enjoy it. I do have another book by Libby Page on my Kindle that's called Lido that I will certainly be checking out soon. But I really did like this. It was it's a really solid little contemporary read, and it's just what I kind of felt like. I was getting a little bit in a slump. So yeah, this was a really nice little refresher, and I really did enjoy it. And I would definitely recommend. The next book I picked up is another continuing series, and this is Life, the Universe, and Everything. This is the third book in the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy by Douglas Adams. This book's bonkers. This series is bonkers. Basically, this follows Arthur Dent, and basically the book starts. The first book starts because it has moved a little bit on from there, and don't want to spoil. Um, it follows Arthur Dent, and his house is going to be basically knocked down from a highway. But he basically, his friend Ford comes to him and says, right, we've got to go because guess what? The planet is going to be destroyed in about 10 minutes, and it's going to be destroyed for an international highway. So basically, it's what has he has this thing called the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, basically, and it basically gives instructions. They manage to escape the Earth, and it takes it on their invention from there. That's as basically I can give you. This book series is bonkers, but it's highly hilarious, and the audiobooks are really fun as well. I would definitely highly recommend it. I didn't like this one quite as much. I gave it 3, but it's still I'm really enjoying the series, and listening to this on audio it's just hilarious. I think Stephen Fry kind of um narrates the first one. I can't remember the name of who narrates the rest, but it's such a fantastic series. I'm really enjoying this. They're really, really quick reads, and what you have to basically do is suspend belief because it's in that writing style, that Monty Python writing style, that it'll basically be there for a minute and then it'll go off on a tangent and then come back and then it'll go off on another tangent. But it's hilarious. It's really, really funny. It's you just have to go with the flow with it, and I absolutely loving the ride. The next book I read was meant to be my next read for Polyphone, but it went into basically into uh, uh, the royal readathon basically for the prompt to read a book with a dragon. This was I previously spoke to this about my weekly updates, but this is follows Ember, and she is a fire dragon, but she's been turned into a person by her adopted father. Basically, her adopted father's a wizard. He found her basically he saves her from being hunted. He finds her parents, her dragon parents dead because they are hunted. So he saves her, turns in, disguises her as a human girl and raises her. But unfortunately, when she grows up, he doesn't quite get it. He's a bit haphazard. Still has invisible wings. If she's not careful, she can knock things. So she has to be careful with that. And if it gets too warm, she'll set things on fire. So basically, to help that, he sends her up into the Arctic to help her aunt who studies ice dragons. And basically, unfortunately, there's also a hunt for the ice dragons. So basically, she goes on an adventure to try and sabotage this hunt, and it basically goes from there. I absolutely adored this. It was so good. It was basically my only really 5 stars a month, but yeah, it was really good. My only complaint, and I'm not taking 5 stars off this because it was a solid little standalone, is that is a standalone. There's no more yet. Hopefully, um, hopefully Heather Fawcett maybe pick up the series at one point. But she had wrote other things that are also polar fantasy. I've seen that I will certainly be checking out soon. But yeah, there's not much else I can do. I love this book. I highly recommend. So 5 stars. The next book that I read was another book that I was trying to get off my these books will self-destruct. And this is Cocktails for Free by Madeleine Wickham, aka Sophie Kinsella. I really like Sophie Kinsella as a writer. I used to really like her. I liked all the Shopaholic books. And I've had this on for quite a while, but never actually got round to it. Or I've started one of her other ones, but never really got that far. This was a short, little nice read, actually. It was a nice little contemporary chick flick. I didn't love it. I gave it 3 stars. But basically, this follows Roxanne, Maggie, and Candice. Roxanne's a glamorous, self-confident, with a secret lover. Will she ever leave his wife to marry her? Basically, she's a freelancer, and they're all working at this publishing house. Maggie, who is capable of high achieving, will take a murder in her stride. Basically, she's pregnant. She's had a baby, but they've moved to the country, so she's got nothing to do. So she's trying to adjust to that. She thinks she's a bad mother. Her mother-in-law is like coming in to help, but she's thinking, oh, she needs to help me. She knows all these things, and it's basically hard trying to like adjust to this life, but she doesn't quite like it. And Candice, who's honest, decent, and she believes how she cope with a ghost from her past turns up. So basically, Candice, the story starts with the 3 girls going out for cocktails. As you can imagine, cocktails for free. It's very kind of Sex in the City kind of vibes, ish. I think that was their intention. So basically, Candice basically meets a, a, a old classmate from school that she knew something happened to her in the past. Basically, was her family. I think her father basically ruined their family financially, so she wants to make up to it. So she asks her to move in. She wants to be her friend. She wants to invite her parties, but all isn't what they seem. Basically, I'll let you know from there, basically. So, but yeah, there was this sort of light read. It's not completely my thing anymore, but I did really actually like it. I do like picking up a contemporary now and then because I do read a lot of high fantasy, and this was a nice little fluffy read. I was a little bit more to it, but I like to it than just you know. I liked it more than I thought I would. I thought I would maybe have grown out this kind of thing, which I kind of have. I've not grown out, but my reading tastes have kind of changed. But it was a nice little relief after reading quite some heavy stuff. I really did enjoy my time with it. I didn't absolutely love it, but I did like it. So it's a free. Next book that I read was Legendborn. This is a YA fantasy, which basically is a Arthurian retelling. This follows Bree Matthews, and basically she basically wants to escape her past. Basically, her mother was killed in an accident. She never knew why. She assumes it was a car accident. But so basically she goes away to this academy or this university, but her father's really still worried about her. So basically, one night on this like party, she is she witnesses this magical event. It's actually a demon, and she basically introduced the fact that there's this secret society. Um, and it's basically on Arthurian legend, um, and that she herself has some powers. This was really interesting because it was a kind of two like powers. There was Arthurian, like secret society, like basically on where the magicians are actually called Merlins, and there was also this other one from her mother's past, that she is actually more kind of like a herb witch. So it's kind of both things going into each other. You kind of don't know which is good, which is bad. Um, it kept me guessing, really did. I really enjoyed this. The sequel is coming, I think, out next year. I'm really looking forward to it anyway. But like I said, I liked it. I didn't completely love it, but it is the first in the series, so I have given it a 4. But I can't wait to see where else this go to. Yeah, and the ending was really really good. So I really really enjoyed that. So more please. The next book I read and the last book I read in August was Where Dreams Descend by Janelle Angeles. This basically is kind of, this has been described as the Night Circus meets Phantom the Opera meets The Greatest Showman meets Moulin Rouge. That kind of magical showman kind of vibes, circus vibes. There is a circus in this. I've not read The Phantom of the Opera. I've seen thing. I know, bless me, and I've not read The Night Circus. But I am a big fan of The Moulin Rouge and The Greatest Showman. The whole kind of musical theatre kind of circus vibes or like showman vibes. I love all that. It's brilliant, and this was just so brilliant. I really enjoyed this. Um, this basically is set in a world where basically if you are a female magician, this is looked down upon, it's quite feared, and basically girls are basically they're either the glamorous assistant or they're a showgirl. This follows Kayla. She is basically a showgirl in this kind of show house kind of thing. Um, but she wants a better life. So she basically enters into a competition in another town to get away from it. But the master of her previous house kind of doesn't want to let her go. Um, so he kind of haunts her as well, like and gives her a warning. So you don't know if he's the good guy or the bad guy at this point. Um, and so basically she enters this competition and she does a little bit of ruse where she finds a guy to help her. He is meant to be the magician on stage and she's rusing as the um as the showgirl or the sorry the assistant. But she kind of they find out their end as well because she has elemental power. She has fire magic. So it's basically gone from there, and it's basically her journey through the competition. But there's also a darker element involved. There's a wee bit of a like disappearances, and it's a little bit of a murder mystery involved in there. And yeah, it was really really good. I really liked this. It was just kind of 5 star for me. I would like to see. It was a little slow in places, but absolutely beautiful. And but I would like to see more of it. And it is the first book in this series. I'm not sure if it's like a duology or if there's more books than that. But the next one is comes out this year. So I read this. And I definitely have pre-ordered the next one. I can't wait to see what's going next and see how it goes. But yes, I really, really like this. And going off this, I definitely want to read The Night Circus um, after this and possibly for October, kind of spooky vibes and stuff. So yeah, really enjoyed that. And that's all I can say about that, really. Well, that's all the books that I read in August. That is quite a stack. I'm actually quite impressed with that. I'm quite plus the free ebooks as well. I'm quite happy with that. I read 2 books from my book boxes. I've read a book from these books won't self-destruct. And also read another older book. I will probably be unhauling these two. I like them, but I don't think I would keep them. I'd like to pass them on. But yeah, it was a pretty successful reading month. Let me know if any of you've read any of these books, if you are planning to read any of these books. Are there any series you think I like, or any books that I like on what I've read previously? Or what are you reading? What did you read in August, and what are your plans for September? Let me know in the comments below. I'm always happy to talk to people, and I will answer every comment. But thank you very much today. Thank you for reviewing. If you enjoyed this, please give me a like, subscribe if you want to, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.